So much, Mr. Hirst. That is the most staggering admission. Contemplate what you've just said. So some of these older retirees, some of these older Australians asked me to go along to the AMP annual general meeting last Friday to support them and to ask some difficult questions, and I did. I can put my hand on my heart and I can say to you, by the time I was finished cross-examining the board of directors of AMP, I had burned that board to the ground and set fire to the ashes. The members of that board of directors had no idea what had hit them. They were reeling. They were in shock. The questions I asked them were just body blows. And we're going to put up some links in this TikTok video so that you can go and watch and listen to the questions that I asked members of the board of directors. These greedy bastards are presiding over a dying company. The share price has gone from $18 a share to $1 a share. And there are hundreds of thousands of older Australians whose retirement was invested in that company and whose retirement is linked to that share price. They're facing a future where they might not be able to feed themselves. But the people on the board of directors are paying themselves tens of millions of dollars a year and cheating.
Chair, I would like to reintroduce Dr Schmulow.
Mr. Hirst, my question is for the CEO. Ms. George, APRA has said non-financial risk must be raised across the industry. I note 30% of your remuneration is based on comparator companies' so-called RepTrak scores. I note the companies you've chosen are ANZ, currently under a $1 billion capital penalty for corporate governance failures, 500 million of which were levied while you were the Deputy CEO. Rio Tinto, which purposefully and with malice of forethought blew up Juukan Gorge, having been forewarned of its irreplaceable cultural and historical significance. Qantas, which attempted to defraud customers of $500 million in aircraft fees on flights that they knew were cancelled, whilst sacking 1,700 workers illegally, and Westpac, which paid a $1.3 billion penalty for 23 million breaches of anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing laws, including having been warned by Austrac of 300,000 low-value transactions to the Philippines and Vietnam to fund pay-per-view, live-streamed, viewer-directed sexual abuse and torture of children and infants. So I'm curious, Ms. George, do you think it is appropriate, and are you proud of the companies against which you are compared for your remuneration, companies that steal from their customers, steal from the dead, and fund paedophilia?
Well, I think it's unfair to ask Alexis that question, given it's the board that sets those, that cohort.
Answer.
Well, that's what I was about to do.
Good.
So the cohort of companies that we choose in terms of RepTrak, and there's two different cohorts. So one relates to reputation, and then there's another cohort that relates to, I think it's the STI piece. So that cohort of companies, because we're measuring improvement over a period of time, we have to use companies that are around the mark where we are in terms of reputation. Otherwise, if we were to use companies that had, say, let's say we took the 5 companies who had a reputation that was significantly higher than ours, it's more difficult for them to improve their reputation when they're already at a top level than it should be for us, who are trying to lift our reputation off lows, and we've been successful in doing that. So from the board's perspective, if we chose those companies that had the higher reputations already, it's probably not a reasonable comparison as opposed to those who are sort of where we are. So that's the reason that it's chosen like that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hirst. That is the most staggering admission. Contemplate what you've just said.
Authorised by Craig Isherwood, Citizens Party, Melbourne.